In school, the story of human progress is usually taught as a simple three-act play. First, the ancient Greeks and Romans build a highly advanced civilization. Then, Rome falls, plunging Europe into a 1,000-year dark age of ignorance. Finally, the Renaissance arrives in Italy, bringing science and reason back to life. A millennium is an incredibly long time for an entire species to sit in the dark, waiting for someone to turn the lights back on. Science, engineering, and mathematics never actually stopped. The center of innovation simply migrated to a different part of the map. Starting in the 7th century, while much of Europe was politically fragmented, a massive network of scholarship was taking shape across the Middle East, North Africa, and southern Spain. The centuries that Europe spent in a dark age matched the timeline of the Muslim Golden Age year for year. This period provides the continuity of thought that links ancient discovery to the foundations of the modern world. To see how this worked, we start in the late 700s in Baghdad. The Abbasid Caliphate established the House of Wisdom, an academy dedicated specifically to gathering global intelligence. This sparked a state-sponsored translation movement. Scholars of many faiths worked to translate the scientific and philosophical texts of the Greeks, Indians, and Persians into Arabic, preserving intelligence that might otherwise have been lost. Scholars took these translated fragments and developed them into new, rigorous systems. In the 9th century, Al-Khwarizmi published the work that organized equations into the discipline of algebra. We can see the result of that mathematical precision in instruments like this Persian astrolabe. It functions essentially as an analog computer, allowing engineers and navigators to calculate time and map the stars with pinpoint accuracy. Institutional learning took root as well. In 859 AD, Fatima al-Fihri funded a mosque complex in Morocco that expanded into the world's first degree-granting university. These scholars didn't just invent concepts, they built the systems of formal universities and international academic translation that allow scientific progress to compound over generations. By the 10th century, this systematic approach caused broad fields of philosophy to branch out into highly specialized scientific disciplines. In physics, Ibn al-Haytham tested the Greek theory that eyes emit light. Through physical experimentation, he proved the opposite: eyes receive light that bounces off objects. His formulas described light bending and funneling through a small opening. These calculations provided the mechanical blueprints for the camera obscura, and eventually every lens used today. In medicine, al-Zahrawi elevated surgery to an independent science. He designed and illustrated dozens of specialized tools, including forceps and scalpels, that serve as the templates for instruments used in modern operating rooms. Around 980 AD, the physician Ibn Sina, known as Avicenna, compiled all known medical data and the results of his own clinical trials into a massive encyclopedia called the Canon of Medicine. This printed copy of the Latin translation shows why his work mattered. The canon was so exhaustive that it remained the standard required textbook in European medical schools for over 6 centuries. By documenting clinical trials and illustrating standard tools, these scholars shifted physics and medicine toward the peer-reviewed experimental model we recognize today. As we move into the 1200s, this accumulated knowledge began to actively flow westward into Europe through trade hubs in Italy and translation centers in Spain. In 1202, Leonardo Fibonacci returned to Italy from his travels in North Africa. He introduced Arabic numerals and mathematics to Europe, replacing the cumbersome Roman numeral system and streamlining Western commerce. By the 1500s, this transfer of data expanded into global mapping, supplying European navigators with advanced geographic data. We see that data synthesized in documents like this 1513 map by Ottoman cartographer Piri Reis. It accurately depicts the coastlines of the Americas. Figures like Copernicus and Newton actively relied on these translated Islamic astronomical tables to formulate their own theories. This exchange continued for centuries. Decades before Edward Jenner's work, Lady Mary Wortley Montagu witnessed smallpox inoculation in the Ottoman Empire and brought the practice to Britain. The European Renaissance was the direct beneficiary of this specific intellectual lineage, a massive inheritance of data and technique collected across the East. If we spin the timeline forward from the 1700s to the 21st century, the fingerprints of that inheritance are still present. The algebraic principles laid down by Al-Khwarizmi are the ancestors of the algorithms powering our smartphones, search engines, and the digital world. Ibn al-Haytham's optics and the clinical trials pioneered by Ibn Sina are essential to the laser eye surgeries and hospitals we rely on today. Science operates as a multicultural relay race. The scholars of the Golden Age took the baton from the ancient world, carried it over a millennium, and handed it to the modern era. To truly understand how we reached this current age, we have to recognize the diverse global minds that built the track. Thanks for watching. If you want to explore more hidden history, hit the like button and subscribe for our next deep dive.